I got these after work at the San Monica Promenade because of Doc Martens store right up the street. And I was like, oh my, like I haven't, like I've been wanting a pair of Doc Martens because I have former shoes, but I didn't like them. They were like ugly. They were like little boy Catholic school shoes.
I remember the first time I saw them on someone was this guy from Brazil. We used to work together at the restaurant at the village, and that was the first time I saw those shoes. And I thought, back in my country, the only people who wear those types, not necessarily Dr. Martens, were the guerrilla guys, the revolutionary fighter in Colombia, back in my country. So that was the only time when I saw people who were in the military. So when I went to New York and I saw this guy going to my same school and working with me, wearing those shoes, it was a little bit of a shock for me because it was a different context.
So I went to San Francisco for probably my 15th birthday with the expressed purpose of buying a pair of shoes. Now, I didn't know what shoes I wanted, but I wanted a pair of shoes. So there's this big shopping plaza in San Francisco called Union Square. So I literally went there and I saw a pair of boots that I liked. These were a pair of like regular Chelsea boots, more cowboyish style, not Doc Martens. But then my sister said, why don't you just get Doc Martens? And I'd heard that name before. So I was like, you know what? Sure, let's go to Doc Martens. And I walk in there and I immediately hate the store. I hate the essence of the store because I walk in and it's like these super duper like emo people, like really all like fucking like septum piercings, etc. Right? Like generic millennial men with like the hipster glasses, the man bun, etc. And I'm like, I hate what the store stands for. And then I look at all the way at the end of the store, I see a pair of black Chelsea boots. And I'm like, I have to own those.
I would say about when I was 16 or 17 years old. Okay. I fell in love the first time I saw them. Mm-hmm. I wanted a pair so bad. Okay. But I couldn't afford it. So I never had any of my own. I had a classmate that would lend me hers every so often. So yes, but that's it. I never owned a pair. No, that's when I first saw them in high school. The roughness, the toughness. Okay. That's how I saw myself, so I love them.
These shoes are very flat, I guess. Like, I feel when I walk, like when I'm walking on like the pavement, I can like feel the rupture from the pavement. So it's not like a very soft shoe, but it definitely, I just when I'm walking, I feel taller. Like I feel like my presence is like out, like growing out. Like I feel like I'm kind of like Doc Martens. I feel like cause like they add height. They're like pretty noticeable shoe. Like they add like a presence. Like whenever you like walking by, like people like you're able to like like I feel at least that like when I'm wearing Doc Martens, people see me more. I guess yeah. I don't know. It just feels like they make me feel better about myself. Make me feel more confident. Like when I'm walking, so I feel like I'm at least being acknowledged more. Like when you're walking about, you know some people are more confident. Like with their head up high, they're walking straight, they're walking forward, they're not like looking around, their head's not down, they're not walking slow or hunched. Like when I wear Doc Martens, I'm not doing those things. I feel tall, I feel standing up straight. I like I feel like I have a mindset like I have a place I'm going, straight ahead. Like it's just like how they make me respond to the rest of the world.
I was burning the loose threads. Taller? I don't know. Like you feel, I don't know. I feel like it just, I think this is more like a sense of how I dress as a whole than it is just a Doc Marten specific like relation. I like the way I dress. If I'm dressed in something that I like, I'll feel like I have a grander sense of self in that moment, in contrast to if I'm wearing something I'm not used to wearing. Like, I'll give you an example, right? A lot of people feel more confident or more like for lack of a better word, intelligent when they're wearing suits. Because you hardly ever wear suits, right? If you wear suits often enough, you just feel normal, right? I wear what I wear so often to the sense of that everything that I wear just feels normal to me, to where I don't feel different feeling by wearing it because it's just who I am. So, in short, I guess I feel like myself. Doc Martens are a great shoe to wear when you're drunk. In the sense of that, I think they're great for balance. I think that you feel on top of the world while you're wearing Doc Martens and intoxicated. I think Doc Martens lend themselves to have a sense of aura. There's this word in Spanish that basically translates to like a false sense of kingship, fanfarón, which basically is like something you would use to describe someone that's like a high beast or like present themselves to be something that they're not. But I feel like when you wear Docs, you have that sense, but it's like an earned sense in the sense of like, yeah, this shoe sucks to wear in. Like, this is like the hardest shoe to break in, realistically. It's gotta be up there because they're so tough. The Chelsea boots suck to break in. But once you break them in, it's like the most comfortable shoe you have. You have like that sense of accomplishment, like, oh, I molded this shoe to myself. You kind of earned feeling comfortable in your Docs. I low-key walk worse with them, to be honest. Like,
more grounded because they're solid, thick sole grounding shoes. See, literally standing, on the floor, grounding versus high heels. I remember feeling empowered. That was a feeling. There was not a thought to it. It was just I put them on and it was like, this is me.
Since they are so heavy and they are black, I guess maybe empowering. With my jeans. What else? Because they had this thick soil, and I remember they were like white. They was like gum, like rubber, but white. I remember, and they were comfortable. I will feel taller. I will feel more sturdy, when I walk, and they fit perfect with the jeans.
I think it says, so I think a lot of myself, but I'm not uptight. I think other people think that, well, also, it depends on age level, but I guess, like, with my peers, kind of like the idea of someone with Doc Martens is, like, someone who kind of alternative, but not too alternative. Like, Doc Martens aren't like way off the beaten path. Like, they're still like on the outskirts of like mainstream, but they're not mainstream. They are. When I see someone wearing Doc Martens, I guess like before I started wearing Doc Martens, at least, it was that person is cool. Like, that person probably thinks that they're cool as shit. And they probably are almost as cool as shit as they think they are, but they're not quite as cool as they are. Like, the Doc Martens adds a little bit to their ego. You're not who you think you are, but you're almost there.
I love the shoe. I think it looks cool. I think that Doc Martens to me represent an idea within fashion that I really, really like. I weirdly think it's kind of political. I don't wear Docs for a political reason, but if I see someone wearing Docs, I automatically have like the perception that they're more to the left than they would ever be if they were not wearing Docs. For lack of a better word, I don't know how to explain that or how to like convey what I mean by that, but when I see someone wearing Docs, I'm like, oh, this person's definitely more to the left than if I saw someone just wearing like a pair of regular boots. how do I feel like I'm perceived? I think in general I am perceived as like more far left than I think I am. Whether that's because of Doc Martens or not, I don't know. I think it definitely plays a role. I'm by most accounts definitely more left to the spectrum than most people. But I think Doc Martens and more broadly how I choose to dress and conduct myself allows me to be perceived probably more left than I actually am.
People that liked techno music, people that used to go to raves, that listened to Depeche Mode, those kind of kids. Tough. Oh, look at that person, you know, they're tough, look at their look. No, I didn't admire any kid. No, it was not admiration.
Maybe here I am. Maybe I own this line where I'm standing up. Maybe I can hear you with these boots. They still make a fashion statement, I guess, for people who knew. Some people, they didn't care, or, you know, especially in California. I don't know, this attitude in California where people are more towards the pastels, the ocean, the blues, and then you have these boots that are just plain black. So I guess they have to have a special niche of people who likes them, look for them, and wear them.
You're kind of throwing them around.
Again, I feel like I personally don't see material possessions in that kind of like, if you buy something to wear, you should just wear it. You should like, I'm not saying don't take care of the stuff you own, but don't like coddle them either, if that makes sense. I don't know anyone that really coddles a Doc Martens. Like I said, I think there's always like preventive measure. Like you should always wax your boots now and then. You should always do like the anti-spray. Like I own all of that, but I think it's also like wrong to like, you know, perfectly try to store and take care of your shoes. Like shoes are meant to be worn. I think people wear Jordans. Okay, I'll give you this. I think that a subculture that would not wear Doc Martens is kind of that hype beast subculture, right? That kind of subculture that loves wearing like super like braggadocious, like, oh, I'm wearing Supreme, I'm wearing Gucci. Like that kind of Balenciaga subculture doesn't lend itself to like the idea of materialism in the same way that Docs do, right? I think Docs is marketing as like, oh, hey, you're going to a mosh pit? Wear Docs. Hey, you're like a super leftist punk? Wear Docs. Hey, you're this, you're that, wear Docs, right? In contrast to like the Jordan idea of like, oh, you collect it, it retains value, it could increase in value. Like that super hypebeast culture is just so at odds to where what I think someone that wears Docs for. I think people that wear Docs because they're a shoe and not necessarily, like they're a shoe that is also like a fashion statement, right? Or a statement of identity, but that's so different to where someone wears like a pair of Jordans for like, yeah, a pair of Jordans are a part of their identity, but it's also part of the identity to keep that pair of Jordans hyper maintained, hyper pristine, in contrast to Docs, right? I think Docs, I think even Nikes, Jordans, the idea behind the shoe is kind of the layering that the shoe has, right? You have like your initial layer, and then Doc Martens loves to add texture to that layer, right? Whether it's like a Chelsea boot having like the signature like inseam cross stitch, you know, kind of combining the I don't know, head of the shoe for lack of a better word, or whether it's like a pair of just like regular flats, like I think Doc Marten is really, really good at layering texture onto their shoes. The reason that Crocs are perceived as very infantile, to at least me, is that they have no texture. You know what I mean? It's a solid thing of just rubber.
But someone who would never wear Doc Martens is someone who, I guess, has never, like, there's so many different kinds of Doc Martens that it's hard, I feel like it's hard to find that there isn't like a pair that wouldn't be for you, like, because there's like every different type of style. So for like any different type of like occasion or dress or whatnot. And I feel like the type of person who would never wear Doc Martens is the kind of person who's kind of like stuck in a headspace of never wanting to change. Because Doc Martens are like, they're a more formal kind of shoe, but they can still be casual. So I feel like someone who's never grown beyond like tennis shoes or flip flops, someone who doesn't really like take anything seriously. Someone who never like really grew up, who's always kind of like maintained that childhood, like I'll just wear whatever shoe. They don't like, I don't really care about my appearance, I guess, because you don't have to wear Doc Martens to seem like grown up or anything, or like to change or anything.
I wouldn't wear Doc Martens now. That is totally not my style. Again, nowadays, it's not my style because that is a very thick sole. I don't like that. That is very juvenile to me. I think you have to go through phases and live the moment. That's why it's important for me. And I always say this even to my kids. Live your moment. You need to be 10-year-old, be a child. You be a teenager, you do teenager things like going to raves and dance and go to Magic Mountain I went one time to Magic Mountain with these shoes. They lent them to me and I went to Magic Mountain and they had this group playing that day and we were just dancing, jump around, jump. So yeah, most of my experience with them was dancing, yes. I'm at a different stage, I'm at a different age, I'm doing things according to what, I don't want to say according to what my age dictates. If I like something, I like it. But I just have a very different view. Like I used to wear all the time, like just mini skirt or short shorts.
And you wouldn't wear those things now?
I would never. They're not comfortable to begin with. I don't have the same body that I used to have at the time. And at that age, at least for me, I didn't care if something was comfortable. It's about the look. And it's just not comfortable and it's just not me. I'm at a different stage. I'm a married woman with 4 kids, almost grandkids. No.
All those 80s, all those 90s are coming back. So, to tell you the truth, I still have a pair of, no Dr. Martens, but exactly the same, but very light. I bought them like maybe 6 months ago, and I have them in my closet. I haven't worn them, and I know they are very comfortable, and they fit the look of Dr. Martens with a good pair of jeans and a flannel shirt or maybe a white t-shirt. So, yeah, it's a look that I will do it today at 60. Since I have some other pair of shoes, boots, especially for work, the difference will be I will use those black boots or shoes to go to parties. I used to go to like no underground but special parties like the white party or some parties, gay parties. That was the theme back in the 2010s, 15s at the Mayan. They had those parties. I remember going to a party called the Truck Stop or the Pit Stop, where the theme was like truck drivers, truck stop, and people will wear those ones. And they will fit perfect for those kind of occasions, those kind of bars. So we will wear those ones, yeah. Especially the gay culture, the gay scene.
So Doc Martens are like a British shoe, right? They're made primarily in the UK, but I perceive Doc Martens as a very like American subculture shoe, right? The way I will describe this to you is I think the shoe of the Bay Area culturally could be a Doc Marten, and I think the shoe of like SoCal would be like a pair of Birkenstocks. So I think that in the sense of what they are, they're like this idea of like a niche Americana subculture, not really a British shoe to me.
In New York, back in the 80s, 90s, immense, the different, the underground, the ones who are not connected to the main, alternative, that's the right word, alternative culture, alternative ways of living, in New York. here in California, because it's La La Land, I think that they never got that deep. It was very superficial here in California. Wherever were wearing those boots didn't have the same meaning as New York. It was more fashion. It was more superficial. It was more ladies trying to look cute, guys trying to fit the profile of I don't know, maybe a truck driver. When I used to go to those gay parties at the Mayan, those guys weren't deep thinkers or philosophers or students of anthropology. No. They're just making a fashion statement for those couple of hours. Yeah, like I told you, back in the 80s, 90s, the underground culture in New York, like Chelsea, Christopher Street, what was the other one? The Village. It's called The Village. Those areas, they were identified with those booths. If you walk on Christopher Street, that was a very common street where they will do the gay pride in New York. You will see, displays selling Dr. Martens boots. They were part of that culture. I remember seeing the Village Boys, the Village People. It's a group of gay singers. There are like 5. One is a firefighter. The other one is a Indian, Native American. I believe it's a truck driver or a cowboy. And I believe he's wearing, I don't know if it doesn't have to be Dr. Martens, but they are wearing black boots. So they were very macho, big mustache. Yeah, they were like fit for those kind of people, for those kind of groups. But that was the look. Sense of belonging in my case, because I was a gay person. So belonging to that culture, belonging to that sense of style, because it's just basically a style, a sense of style. Very sturdy, very well-made, good craftsmanship. And when you look at the shoe, just for a shoe itself, it was a good pair of shoes. They would last for a long time. It was a nice design. They were kind of heavy, but I guess that's it. It was a good investment, in other words, also compared to some other shoes that I bought. And like I told you, the sole will come apart on Dr. Martens. That will never happen. It was a very good craftsmanship. You will stand up a little bit from the crowd, especially here in California, when the pastels are the colors of the day. It's always blue at the beach. They will stand up against the landscape of California, because California is beaches, blue and green, and the boots were black. So it was a nice contrast. New York is dark. Yeah. In winter it's horrible, and these boots were perfect for that type of weather. Mm-hmm. So it was more an instrument of daily living. It will have more meaning in New York than here.
Yes, I think that when you're by there's a certain crowd of people I like to call the niche in-groups, right? I think there are a lot of niche in-groups and even broader spheres of communities, right? I think the ally/queer community, I think that if you wear docs around that subculture of people, you'll feel a lot more at home in contrast to some other in-groups, right? But I do think there are a lot of in-groups that have kind of adopted the idea of Doc Martens within their broader kind of framework of fashion. I think the online subculture, the terminally online type of people also love wearing Doc Martens. Like I said, I think that in the Bay Area, there's definitely a subgroup of people. Whether you want to call them grunge, whether you want to tie them in with emo people, whether you want to tie them in with the alt aesthetic, I think that subculture of people also loves wearing Doc Martens, right? I mean, I've gone to mosh pits or moshing, right, where everyone's just wearing Docs. Not everyone, but a large number of people wearing docs, and you would never expect like necessarily a metalhead to wear Doc Martens, but they do. I guess if you're like, it's like under the assumption that certain in-groups wear docs, I guess where those in-groups congregate, there could be like a higher number of docs on average, right? Like, I'll give you an example, right? So in one of my honors English classes about the Gothic and horror more broadly, virtually like 80% of that class of 20 people wore docs. So I think there's like there are situations to be made that certain subjects appeal more to people that wear docs than others, but I wouldn't say it's as like clear cut as like, oh hey, Jimmy John's is where all the people that wear docs hang out. You know what I mean? I think it's like more complicated than that. Most like shoes, most articles of clothing or genres of clothing probably fit a certain type of aesthetic to a degree, to where it functions as a connecting piece for people that wear them, right? I think that if enough like alts, leftists in group wear docs, then they'll probably see docs as a piece of their identity and then use that as a jumping off of conversation, right? Like if I'm in a class and it's 80 people and I see only one other guy wearing docs and I'm wearing docs, I'll probably go talk to him first out of those 80 people.
I would just happen to be there wearing what people wore in those parties. I don't really think about like it represented me. It just, because they did have a little bit of a rebellious side. I liked them, and then going to those parties was a little bit rebellious. You know, some people were doing drugs and things like that. And I was there. So just at that moment, it's not that I wanted to fit in at the time. It's just that moment in time, and that's it. Maybe a few parties of those, and that's it. Not really a big thing. It just maybe in my lifetime there, I went maybe to 4 of those parties. That's it. Everybody can make it whatever they want. Maybe to some people that's because they're expensive. It could mean, look, I can buy them. Sort of like what a woman does sometimes with buying a purse, an expensive purse. I mean, what does that mean? Of course, look, I can show you that I can buy these. These are expensive. So maybe also on the shoe. No, I don't think I borrowed a symbol. I think I gave meaning to that symbol because I was wearing them because I like them. That symbol meant something when I wore them, and that meant something when she wore them. I don't know what symbol she gave it to herself or to who.
I kind of like them better. Like that person, I may not know you at all. Like I have no idea. You could be a total ass, but like if I see you wearing my mind, I'm like, he's cool. Like I like him. I like him. I like her. She's like, you know what you're about. Me and you like probably have similarities. Like there's definitely, because there's like definitely shared culture. I guess like you probably listen to Be Able to Be Too. I love that. It's recognition, but it's also just like rejoice. Like I'm not alone. Like I don't feel like I have no reason to feel like insecure or feel like stupid for what I'm wearing. Like someone else gets where I'm coming from, or what kind of energy or vibe I'm trying to give off. There's a shared sense of like wanting to be seen, how like there's like better words, being perceived by the world. Like we won't be seen kind of like a similar way, I guess, because of change. It's like a connection on both ends that like of like what I'm being seen as and like how I want to be seen. Like, you know, like the alt kind of like indie, like rebellious, but also independent, I guess, like independent. I think a lot of it already comes from my own preconceived notions of like what Doc Martens are, at least from like the era before me, before I started wearing them. Like the Doc Martens is seen as a rebellious shoe, or like a shoe for changing times. So that kind of progressive leading attitude that goes with all those like progressive things was already in my mind about the shoe before I even got them. So when I'm wearing the shoe, I become part of that wider cultural identity, like independent thinker. Like
I remember going when I came to California, I saw them very often, and I went to stores and people were buying them a lot. Yeah, because then they will become just an object of regular consumerism, right? Like popcorn. So yeah, if they will become too popular, yeah, I guess they will lose the meaning. No, 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 because I like them and I knew it was a good investment. It was good craftsmanship, and yeah, no, no, I will never stop buy them.
I like what I like. If they would have been cheaper, I would have bought them. If I was able to buy them, I would have bought them. And if a lot of people wear them, it doesn't matter. See, to me, if a lot of people wore something, I don't care. If I like it, I like it. Even if 100 people wear it, I don't care. Or if no one.
Like what you wear is a representative of your mental state. So if you're able to like piece together these different clothing articles really well, make them look like they go together, like they're put together. It's like a reflection of your own inner being. Is your mind put together? Is your day-to-day life or your habits are those put together? Like,
What about your mental state do Doc Martens reflect?
I say emotional and like characteristic, like maturity. Like I've seen the world. I've been around the people I've been around, and I've had the interactions I had, and I've grown from all of that. I've become more of me from that, from those experiences, those interactions. I took something away that developed more me.
But I definitely think that I owe a lot to Doc Martens in terms of I discovered the brand at a point in my life where I knew what I wanted to be, and I hadn't really found a shoe that I liked, right? But I had yet to find like something that was like, ah, yes, that is me. So I think I owe Doc Martens at least that semblance of thanks for helping me discover at least that part of my identity. I would say, thank you, Doc Martens.